Hello, and welcome to another episode of Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codo Man. Well, since the Oscars are already over, how about we move on to the worst of the worst? And when I mean worst of the worst, I'm talking about the Golden Raspberry Awards. Yep, if you remember one of my previous episodes where I covered the Golden Raspberries, I was talking about the Golden Raspberry nominations. Now, this time around, I'm going to talk about the Golden Raspberry Awards. So basically breaking down the films that won the Golden Raspberry. The categories for the Golden Raspberries are basically worst picture, worst director, worst actor, worst actress, worst supporting actor, worst supporting actress, worst screen combo, worst remake, ripoff, or sequel, worst screenplay, and of course, the Razzie Redeemer Award. Now, just to give in some context, the Golden Raspberries, they're basically the opposite of an Oscar. So technically, it's the exact opposite. Where the Oscar is being awarded to going to the best actor or actress or best film, and as for the Razzie, it goes for the worst actor, worst actress, and worst film. There it does it right there. Now, now this was co-founded by UCLA film graduates and film industry veterans John J.B. Wilson and Mo Murphy. The Razzie Awards satirical annual ceremony has preceded its opposite, to which I mentioned the Golden Raspberry Awards are basically the opposite of an Oscar or an Academy Award for 4 decades. So this has been going on for 4 decades since uh, since 1981. The term raspberry is used in its irrelevant sense as in blowing a raspberry. The statuette itself is a golf ball sized raspberry atop a super 8mm film reel, spray painted gold with an estimated street value of $4.97. And of course, the Golden Raspberry Foundation has also claimed that the award encourages well-known filmmakers and top-notch performers to own their bad. So technically, own up to their mistakes, I should definitely say. So you're owning up. So how about I go into the winners of the Golden Raspberry? So we got some films to talk about. So let me dive in for the ones that won. Okay, so starting with worst picture. Worst picture goes to Blonde, and this is from Netflix. And the people who won Worst Picture for Blonde is Dee Gardner, Jeremy Kleiner, Tracy Landon, Brad Pitt, and Scott Robertson. I'm actually surprised that Brad Pitt won a Golden Raspberry for Worst Picture, although yet again, he and Tom Cruise won a Golden Raspberry for Worst Screen Couple or Screen Ensemble Group for an interview with a vampire, which came out in the 90s. Although I have not seen an interview with a vampire, which is basically with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. But if you know what I'm saying, you probably know what I'm saying about that. Now, Blonde is an American biopic that focuses on Marilyn Monroe. Well, but the film is a fictionalized take on the life and career of American actress Marilyn Monroe, played by Ana de Armas. To which I'm going to say this right now: Ana de Armas was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress, just to let you all know. So she got an Oscar nomination, while the rest of the film took home Razzie nominations. And Blonde won for Worst Picture, which also includes Brad Pitt, beating out Disney's Pinocchio, not Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Disney's Pinocchio, the live-action Disney remake, with with Robert Zemeckis and Chris Weitz, among many other producers, being nominated for Worst Picture for Disney's Pinocchio. It also beat out the Blonde also beat out Good Morning, which was produced and directed by Machine Gun Kelly, also known as Colson Baker, The King's Daughter, and Morbius. Now, as I already mentioned in my previous episode of the Razzie nominations, I saw Morbius. I mean, at one point I thought it was okay, but I can understand why people did not like this film. I do feel bad for this film because Morbius had a lot of potential. But the thing is, and to confess, I don't know much about the character itself, just to be honest. So yeah, Blonde took home Worst Picture. Now moving forward to Worst Director. Worst Director went to Machine Gun Kelly, also known as, and this is for Mod Sun and Good Morning, beating out Andrew Dominic for Blonde, Daniel Espinosa for Morbius, and Robert Zemeckis for Disney's Pinocchio. Now, I'm going to go to Disney's Pinocchio for a sec. I feel bad for Robert Zemeckis, to be honest, because the thing is, I feel like that live action remake of Pinocchio would have been had the potential to be a decent film or a decent remake, to say the least, because I was looking forward to that film, but for what Disney did, the company, they decided to put their fingertips on this film and threw Robert Zemeckis under the bus, because I have a feeling Robert Zemeckis could have pulled this off. I mean, knowing him, he has directed some of the greatest movies of all, some of the greatest movies out there, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, among many other great films. Plus, even some motion capture films like Polar Express, Beowulf, A Christmas Carol for Disney. Disney's A Christmas Carol. I mean, those two, Polar Express and Disney's A Christmas Carol, in my personal opinion, are literal classics to watch during the holidays. And I just feel bad for Robert Zemeckis because he is a pretty good filmmaker. I mean, he's not one of the best. He's not the best filmmaker. He's not up there with Spielberg. He's up there. He's up there with other great directors like Steven Spielberg and Alfred Hitchcock. But for what Disney was doing with Robert Zemeckis, I feel bad for him. Robert Zemeckis deserves better. Moving forward, going to Worst Actor. The winner for Worst Actor goes to Jared Leto for Morbius, as Jared Leto playing Dr. Michael Morbius. Now, I said this. I said it as now. As I mentioned in my previous episode, I also feel bad for Jared Leto as well. There's a ton of people who were either nominated or won the Golden Raspberry Award. I do feel bad for these people because some of them are actually are very good, I see Jared Leto as a very good actor. On his own, Jared Leto as an actor on his own, he is pretty good. However, I do feel bad for Jared Leto because right now he looks to be a punching bag when it comes to superhero films, like whether it's the Suicide Squad or even Morbius. And of course, he also appeared in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which actually turned out to be a pretty good performance for Jared Leto. But the thing is, like, it seems as though he's not getting a good script. It's all based on the script. And for Jared Leto, in my personal opinion, for what he was given, he did a pretty good job. I thought he played a good Michael Morbius in the Morbius film. I just feel bad. I just feel bad for the actor because Jared Leto. I think Jared Leto is a pretty good actor, of course. But the famous "It's Morbin time." It was Morbin time. It was Morbin time for Jared Leto. How can the screen? How can Sony Pictures messed up that film? How can Sony Pictures screwed up Jared Leto? Jared Leto from Michael Morbius. This sucks, man. It really sucks. They went from Sony went went from Spider-Man No Way Home grossing almost $2 billion to a vampire hybrid bomb for Morbius. I mean, how did Sony Pictures went from there to there? I mean, yeah, they pushed the film back due to the pandemic. I mean, I know that, but dang, that movie Morbius had the potential to be good. I mean, Jared Leto also deserves better too, and I hope some of his future films that he's doing right now, I hope they're good. Now, Jared Leto beat out Pete Davidson for Marmaduke, Tom Hanks for Disney's Pinocchio, Machine Gun Kelly, also known as Colton Baker, for Good Morning, and Sylvester Stallone for Samaritan. Now, Tom Hanks is also nominated for Worst Supporting Actor 2 for Elvis for playing Colonel Tom Parker. Now, for his role as Geppetto, I thought he was okay. It's just the accent. The accent was all over the place. I mean, he was either trying to put up a German accent or an Italian accent, but sometimes whenever he drops the accent, sometimes when he drops the accent, sometimes it's kind of fun. It's kind of funny. But I thought Tom Hanks was okay. Especially I love the moments when he hears all Pinocchio what Pinocchio had to say to him about his crazy adventure, and then Geppetto was like, "You did all that in one day." I actually got a laugh out of that. I laughed at that moment. That was a funny moment from Tom Hanks when he was playing Geppetto, realizing that Pinocchio went through all of his crazy adventures in one day. Yeah, yeah, that's something you don't hear every day. So yeah, and Marmaduke. I know there's a live action Marmaduke film that came out about a decade ago that actually had Owen Wilson. Actually had Owen Wilson voicing Marmaduke, but now it's Pete Davidson, so it's kind of a little weird now. But anyway, moving forward to worst actress. Now, surprisingly, I'm gonna have to rant on this one a bit. So strap in, folks, because this one is gonna be a rant right now. Now we're now originally the Golden Raspberries nominated Ryan Kiera Armstrong for Firestarter as Charlie McGee, and there was some controversy on that for Ryan Kiera Armstrong, and because the fact was Ryan Kiera Armstrong is a child actor, and this is not the first time the Golden Raspberries picked on child actors before. So this does come as a surprise to why are young child actors being nominated for worst performances? And look, I get it. Maybe first time around, it may not be as strong. Their performances, he or she, depending on the performance, may not be that great. I mean, and I understand that. You know, they can take the criticism, but award why nominate or award these children for worst awards? I mean, what's that got to do with it? What's that got to do with it? I mean, I get it for criticism, but why give them that award or nomination? What do those kids do to deserve the Golden Raspberry for a nomination or award? Like, what is that? What does that got to do with it? And as I mentioned, Ryan Kiera Armstrong was not the only child actor. Gary Coleman for Right on Track, Macaulay Culkin for Richie Rich, even Jake Lloyd for Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace as young Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yes. Jake Lloyd played young Anakin Skywalker. I mean, Jake Lloyd got nominated for the award, but he didn't win the award. He didn't win the Golden Raspberry. But the fact is, I mean, I just don't understand why why the Golden Raspberries are nominating child actors for worst performances. And like I said, I get it, and I get it. Maybe I get it. Their performances may not be up to par with some of the big name actors, but you know what? These child actors are just warming up. They're trying to find their footing, and that's understanding. And you know, then the criticisms, I can see the criticisms to it. But as I'm like I said, why are the Golden Raspberries nominating these child actors? I really don't understand. I mean, even actors like Drew Barrymore, a former child actress and a star of the original of one of the original film for Firestarter, because Drew Barrymore was in the original Firestarter film, also criticized the decision, stating, and I quote, "I don't like it because she I don't like it," and I quote, "I don't like it because she is younger and it is bullying. And we do want to be cautious about how we speak to or about people because it encourages other people to join on that bandwagon." And I'm glad to see people didn't jump on the let's make fun of her wave and instead said, this isn't right. So to be honest, Cole, and to be honest, I can understand that, and I can understand that. I don't want to see these kids. These kids are just finding their footing, and I would not want to see them get bullied by the Golden Raspberries. Even people picked on Jake Lloyd. There were a ton of people picking on Jake Lloyd for his performance as Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode One: The Phantom Menace. I mean, yeah, he got picked on, and later down the line, he had a downward spiral in the late 2010s, and that is completely something. Like, wow, that is just bad. And of course, in the wake of the controversy, Razzi's co-founder John J.B. Wilson explained that among the group's voters, Armstrong had come in fifth place out of 5 available spots, and that despite some concerns due to her age, 12 at the time of the nomination announcement, so she was 12 years old, members approved the nomination on the grounds that Armstrong was a professional actress with prior experience. So yes, Armstrong had some prior experience. And I think one film that I remember seeing Ryan Kiera Armstrong being in, she was in the Black Widow film. She was in Black Widow. She played a minor character in Black Widow. I don't remember the character, but I think it was Antonia or something. She played a character and she played a minor character in the Black Widow film. The one that Black Widow with Scarlett Johansson, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, so, as I mentioned, members approved the nomination on the grounds that Armstrong was a professional actress with prior experience. Wilson suggested that the level of criticism the nomination received was overblown, but also conceded, stating, and I quote, "The intent was to be funny. In this particular instance, we seem to have misstepped very badly. I will admit that. Yeah, should have thought of that ever since you started the Golden Raspberries. There was even a child actor who actually won a Golden Raspberry Award, tied with Laurence Olivier back in 1981. Yeah, the very first Golden Raspberry Award back in 1981, and one of the actors was a child actor. One of the first child actors tied for the Golden Raspberry win. And one of them was Laurence Olivier. Olivier is a acting giant. Like, he is an acting giant, to say this. And of course, Laurence Olivier tied the win for worst supporting actor, and this was in The Jazz Singer, for another actor, and this was a child actor, for Gloria. Now, Now, the child actor's name is John Ademis. John Ademis tied with Laurence Olivier for Worst Supporting Actor. And this was the first child actor to win the Golden Raspberry Award. So that was the first child actor, John Ademis. And of course, I mean, as I mentioned, the list keeps going with other actors too. Basically, child actors as well. But you know what? There was another surprise for this. But you know what? There was another thing added to this. 3 days after the nomination for Ryan Kiera Armstrong was announced, Armstrong was removed from the ballot. Wilson issued a public apology and announced that the organization would no longer allow individuals under 18 to be nominated in any category. So where was this back in 1981? Like, where the hell was this back in 1981? John Ademus. I mean, I'm pretty sure he went on to do I'm pretty sure he went on to do better things after that, but man, that was crazy, and I feel bad for the other child actors too, as well, because those child actors do not deserve the hate. I mean, look, I can take the credit. I mean, you know what? You could definitely take the criticism, knowing that the fact that, hey, your performance may not be a good performance, but you know what? They're just trying to find their footing in the door, and you know what? They'll build their way up, keep going with different films to do better, and that's basically the thing. Sometimes your first film may not be good, but you keep going and going until you get better. So yeah, there's definitely that. And then moving forward with the surprise, and another surprise for the first time in Razzie's history, the organization gave itself an award for worst actress. So technically, the Razzies nominated themselves and won the award themselves because of the whole Ryan Kiera Armstrong. So yeah, so basically they were roasting themselves. So technically they were roasting themselves. Yeah, good for them. Yeah, that's definitely something to hear for the Golden Raspberries. The first time for the Golden Raspberries to roast themselves, realizing that they're nominating a child actor or actress. They've been doing that since 1981, folks. The Golden Raspberries have been nominating child actors since 1981. Not a lot of child actors, but some child actors. Just saying. So part of me is glad that the Golden Raspberries rescinded that nomination for Ryan Kiera Armstrong, and of course changing the rules, saying like no child under 18 should be nominated for a Golden Raspberry Award. Yeah, you should probably tell that to your other child actors too. So yeah, and of course the Golden Raspberries beat out Bryce Dallas Howard for Jurassic World Dominion, Diane Keaton for Mac and Rita, Kayla Scodelario for The King's Daughter, and Alicia Silverstone for The Requiem. I know that was a long one, but please trust me, because I just want to get that out of the way. The whole worst actress for Ryan Kiera Armstrong nomination. I just want to throw that out there, get it out of my system. I know I already did with my other previous episode, but you know what? I'm just saying. So moving forward to worst supporting actor. Now the winner for worst supporting actor goes to Tom Hanks for the role of Colonel Tom Parker in Elvis. Now, one of my predictions I had in my previous episode for the Razzie nominations and the Oscars, I thought Elvis would win both an Academy Award and a Golden Raspberry, making it the second overall film to win both categories. Because the only film that would win an Oscar and a Razzie went to Wall Street for Daryl Hannah for worst supporting actress, and of course Michael Douglas for best actor. So I thought Elvis would be the second film to win an Oscar and a Razzie, but I was 100% wrong, and my prediction was wrong. So I will admit that, because I had Austin Butler going for the win for best actor at the Oscars, but that win went to Brendan Fraser for The Whale. First of all, shout out to both Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser. They both did a fantastic job in their roles. Credit to both of them. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Now, for Tom Hanks as Colonel Tom Parker, I mean, in all due respect to Tom Hanks, it was more on the accent. It was just the accent for Colonel Tom Parker. I mean, what kind of accent was Tom Hanks doing? I mean, I don't really understand what he was going for. Now, if you take the accent out of the equation, he's actually okay. I think Tom Hanks did an okay job playing Colonel Tom Parker if you just take the accent out of the equation. But you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, Tom Hanks won for Worst Supporting Actor, beating out Pete Davidson for Good Morning, Xavier Samuel for Blonde, Maud Sun for Good Morning, and Evan Williams for Blonde. Now, moving forward to Worst Supporting Actress, and the winner for that one went to Adria Arjona for Morbius as Martine Bancroft. Now, Martine Bancroft is one of the supporting characters for the Morbius film, and quite possibly love interest to Michael Morbius. Now, nothing much to say. She beat out Fan Bingbing for the 355 and the King's Daughter, Lorraine Bracco for Disney's Pinocchio, Penelope Cruz for the 355, and Maria Sorino for Lamborghini, the man behind the legend. Nothing much to say, but moving forward. For worst screen combo, it went to Tom Hanks and his latex laden face and that ludicrous accent for Elvis. And he beat out both real life characters for basically Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy in the White House bedroom scene for Blonde, Andrew Dominic and his issues with women for Blonde, Machine Gun Kelly for Maud Sun and Good Morning, and the two 365 Day sequels, 365 Days, this day and the next 365 Days. Now, I've already mentioned Tom Hanks's accent for the role of Colonel Tom Parker, and of course the latex laden face. Now, I'm just gonna say this right now: the makeup was also nominated for best makeup and hairstyling. So, what's the point of that? I mean, what's the point? What's the point of having makeup being nominated for worst screen combo and best makeup and hairstyling? I don't really get it. I don't really get it. That part I don't get. What the hell is with that? Well, I don't know. They did the same. The Razzies did the same thing with some original songs. That category got rescinded a long time ago, probably back in the '90s. So yeah. Anyway, moving forward, worst remake, ripoff, or sequel. That that one that one worst remake, ripoff, or sequel. That category went to Disney's Pinocchio, not Del Toro's Pinocchio. I actually liked how the Razzies just put in Disney's Pinocchio, not Del Toro's Pinocchio, just showing that the real Pinocchio movie won an Oscar, while the fake Pinocchio film, Disney's Pinocchio, took home the Golden Raspberry for worst remake, ripoff, or sequel. Although let's be honest, the fake one definitely goes to Pauly Shore, because the one with Pauly Shore was, I heard it was terrible. But this one, yeah, this one that Disney did, their live action remake, yeah, that one, in my opinion, it almost worked. I feel like it was a live action remake that almost worked, but the thing was Disney got so caught up with the identity politics, and they just put it in this film rather than having Robert Zemeckis just do his own magic. Because as I mentioned, Robert Zemeckis has made some pretty good films, but the thing is, Disney just threw Robert Zemeckis under the bus, and it seems like Disney the company just directed the remake of Pinocchio rather than just have Robert Zemeckis direct it. I guess they just threw Robert Zemeckis in because he is a household name. So I guess Disney just threw Robert Zemeckis under the bus. And of course, Disney's Pinocchio just beat out 365 Days, This Day, and the next 365 Days for Netflix, Blonde, Firestarter, and Jurassic World Dominion. Also, not to mention, this is Disney Plus. This is Disney Plus first Razzie Award. This is the first Razzie Award for Disney. This is the first Razzie Award where a Disney Plus streaming service won a Golden Raspberry. So yeah, that's definitely something. So anyway, moving forward to worst screenplay. Worst screenplay went to Blonde, written for the screen by Andrew Dominic, adapted from the bio novel by Joyce Carol Oates. Beating out Disney's Pinocchio, with the screenplay being written by Robert Zemeckis, Chris Weitz, based on the 1940 Disney animated film and novel The Adventures of Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi, not authorized by the estate of Carlo Collodi. Is this exposing? did the Razzie just expose Disney for? Did they not authorize the film? So does that mean Disney just stole the film? Just remake the does that mean that Disney just remake the film without notifying the Carlo Collodi estate? Is that what I'm hearing? Oh wow! Talk about another low for the Walt Disney Company, man. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that really sucks. No wonder why. No wonder. Well, that's probably one of the reasons why Disney's Pinocchio for live action, the live action Disney Pinocchio film did not do as well. I mean, Robert Zemeckis got thrown under the bus, man. As I mentioned, Disney put their fingertips on this film. Anyway, also other films that were also being mentioned. Good Morning, written by Machine Gun Kelly and Mod Sun. Jurassic World Dominion by Emily Carmichael and Colin Trevorrow, story by Colin Trevorrow and Derek Conley, and of course Morbius, story and screenplay by Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless, based on the Marvel comic character by Gil Kane and Roy Thomas. Alright, now moving on to the last category. The last category is called Razzie Redeemer Award. Now the Razzie Redeemer Award is an award presented at the Golden Raspberry to a past Razzie Award nominee or winner who becomes a respected artist and comes back from critical or commercial failure. And that award went to Colin Farrell for basically for his film in The Banshees of Inisherin, because Colin Farrell was nominated for Best Actor for The Banshees of Inisherin because his performance in that film, from what I heard, was very good. From 2004 Worst Actor nominee to 2022 Best Actor Oscar front runner. And that film, and that was basically for Alexander. Because Colin Farrell he played Alexander the Great. And from what I heard about that film wasn't as critically acclaimed to a whole lot of people. So, yeah. But you know what? Colin Farrell just redeemed himself for The Banshees of Inisherin, beating out Val Kilmer from 3-time Razzie nominee to Val, and Mark Wahlberg from 4-time Razzie nominee to Father Stu. Father Stu is actually a pretty decent film. Father Stu with Mark Wahlberg, I mean, it's actually a pretty decent film. You should definitely check that out. So anyway, that is basically it. And the films with multiple wins for the Razzies, Blonde, Elvis, and Morbius, took home two Golden Raspberry wins. So yeah, each film, Blonde, Elvis, and Morbius, took home 2 Golden Raspberry Award wins. So there you have it. And that's basically it. That is basically the 43rd Golden Raspberry Awards. Now this is basically the breakdown of the winners for the Golden Raspberry. So what did you all think? What did you think? What are your thoughts on the whole 43rd Golden Raspberries? Did you actually check out the Golden Raspberries? Did you find out about it? If not, I would like to hear your thoughts about this. So anyway, that really wraps up for this episode. Thank you all for tuning into Codo Cinema. I'm your host, Codo, aka Codo Man. Remember to watch movies and stay positive.